In this video, I'm going to talk about what it means to have the sun placed in each of the first 4 houses. I'm going to do the rest of the houses in other videos, doing 4 houses in each video. A birth chart is basically a blueprint for our personality, offers insights into general traits, themes, processes, challenges, gifts. The houses themselves are sort of where those energies operate, right? They are domains of activity in life. They can offer clues about where we should kind of direct our energies in a way that's most aligned with who we truly are. At a basic level, the sun in a natal chart represents our sort of life purpose. It's our essence. It's what makes us unique, right? Everything in the natal chart is going to offer some kind of clue and nuance about us, and you have to look at the whole chart to really understand the full picture. But you're always going to be able to see the overarching theme of the sun sign, right? The sign that it's in, the position that it's in, any aspects that it receives. That's why kind of pop astrology is always just sort of focused on your sun sign. And the sun is really most directly speaking about what our true purpose, where we develop our personal power, how we kind of develop our intentionality in a way that, again, makes us most uniquely us. It's where we need to focus in order to stay grounded in our identities, to develop a healthy ego, and successfully navigate the challenges and experiences of our life. People with sun in the first house strongly feel the impact of it being located there, right? These tend to be very sunny, enthusiastic, unique individuals. They are very vital. They have a lot of energy, generally like a lot of warmth. They kind of stand out or stick out in a room. They're not one to want to blend into the crowd. It's especially important for these individuals to forge their own unique path in life and to forge their own unique identity, separate from their family, separate from the groups they're associated with. That's why typically people with sun in the first house need to focus on becoming leaders. They need to be noticed and recognized for their individuality. Maybe that doesn't come through their career, maybe it comes through other activities that they're involved in. There's a lot of different ways this can kind of be nourished. But that's the overarching theme of a first house sun. When the sun is well aspected here, these individuals are going to feel support for that process of kind of becoming unique and pursuing their own unique interests, right? They might have come from a family where they were encouraged to really explore who they are, and they're going to encounter unique life experiences that maybe the rest of us wouldn't, in order to kind of facilitate that process and that individuation process in a way that's special to them. When there's hard aspects here, or the individual hasn't quite totally engaged the process that's described with a first house sun, it can result in someone that desperately wants to kind of put themselves forward and stand out, but they haven't quite figured out a healthy and natural and sort of harmonic way to do that. And so it comes out as an egoism, almost kind of like a narcissism. Not necessarily in the clinical sense, but just a need to always assert themselves and need attention in situations where it's a little bit overbearing or inappropriate. So something to be mindful of. The second house is normally associated on a mundane level with money and possessions. On a broader sense, the second house is really about what we value. Money is a unit of value. So that's why the second house is often talked about in terms of wealth and income and our possessions and assets and all of that. But if someone doesn't really value those things, the second house doesn't really have much to say about it, right? It's really about that experience of coming to understand what it is the person values, and then the process of kind of fulfilling those values. And when the sun is placed here, that process is going to be emphasized, right? It's especially important for the person to be very conscious and deliberate about what it is in life that they value, and their basic sense of security and self-worth is going to hinge on whether they're fulfilling those values, or at least focused on pursuing them. A healthy sun here, or a well-aspected sun, is going to describe an individual who has done a good job of really reflecting about what they want and have structured their life in a way so as to focus on those values. You can always pick different values from a tree, right? We can say, oh, I want this value, or I want this value, like they're multiple choice or something. Really, values are a unit of time. They're a unit of life energy. And so how we choose to spend our time every day, that's really what we value, like it or not. So a healthy second house sun, right, is living their life in a way that's aligned with their values. An unhealthy sun here, or a poorly aspected sun, is going to describe someone that is very engaged in pursuing a reputation and they really crave acknowledgement, but they're seeking validation from other people and living their life according to values that they don't really have deep down, right? So maybe they're doing something their parents want them to do or what they think society expects them to do, and they think that they're going to get loved and noticed for their ability to accomplish that. And these might be very wealthy, successful people, right? But it's almost like it's not good enough, or there's still something at the core that's missing because for them, they're not actually pursuing what they wanted, right? They're living someone else's value system. The third house is all about what we know, what we've come to know, usually through direct experience. It's what we have to say. It's the unique perspective that we've cultivated and that we're cultivating as we go throughout our lives. People with a third house sun have a unique perspective to offer, right? And that's kind of their gift, that's their power. And it's very important for them to pursue things in life that allow them to do that. Like they need to present their opinion in conversation, and typically whether it's a job or even just a hobby, these individuals really do well when they communicate and express what it is they know. Maybe they're writers or they're communicators or online personalities or just very outspoken about what they believe and what they know. They can be mentors or sometimes psychologists, or they can be mentors or counselors or coaches, teachers often as well. The TLDR is that these individuals need to be heard. A healthy sun, a well-aspected sun, is going to describe someone that's good at speaking up in those situations, and they don't have fears around expressing what it is they know. They're not intimidated, they don't care what people think, and they're very okay if people disagree with them. On the other hand, like an unhealthy sun here is a little bit too tied to what they know. They think they're right all the time, and they have to either let people know that they think that, or they kind of have to be told that they're right. They're very intolerant to any disagreement, or they're intolerant to people that have different opinions from them. That's something that just kind of bothers them on a deep level and kind of hurts their ego. Regardless, those are going to be the overarching themes of a third house sun. And lastly, moving to the sun in the fourth house, these are individuals that need to dive really deep in life. They don't like to live on the surface of knowledge, of experience, of other people's values, right? They really want to go within, and they're comfortable. They have a need to kind of explore the depths of their subconscious. They often are more introverted. They have a need to spend time reflecting or journaling and really thinking about and coming to terms with what makes them them and what makes them unique outside of all sort of public appearances or all kind of social life or experience, right? It's kind of about, who am I when my eyes are closed, or who am I when literally everything in my life is taken away from me, like a relationship, a job, what I have, what I've accomplished. If all of that is taken out of the picture, like what is left? I want to know that. That's why these fourth house sun people tend to be very focused on personal development, self-help. They love to dig deep. They make good psychologists and counselors, and they're often intuitive. There's also a strong emphasis on roots, on laying roots, and a strong influence of their family life. A well-aspected sun in the fourth house means that kind of an individual's family history and their sort of and early home life was so influential on them in a good way, right? They're often very tied to one parent or another, sometimes almost a little bit too much. And the importance of family and that influence stays a dominant theme throughout their life. Someone with a poorly aspected sun in the fourth house usually means there was some deficiency or some challenge or trauma in their early life. Definitely affected them and maybe triggered that need to really go within themselves and get in touch with themselves. These individuals usually have a pretty strong idea of what they want in terms of family life in the future. Usually they'll be adamant that they want to have a family and they really want to lay down roots. Or they might go the total opposite direction, right? They just don't want to have anything to do with it and they really want to be totally self-sufficient and more independent. And home ownership and being reliant and being kind of grounded, that's going to be a big theme for any fourth house sun. Also, as a side note, anytime there's planets in the fourth house usually indicates an individual that's going to be a little bit of a late bloomer in life. If things haven't gone so well, in the first 30 years of life, it's typically after age 30 that life is a lot better for them and goes a lot smoother as compared to, the first part of life. That's it for this video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and keep an eye out for next videos going through sun placed in the rest of the houses.